What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Darkwoods RC Park. We are here today with our Red Cat Gen 7 Pro. We are going to go over 5 tips and tricks that Darkwoods RC recommends that all RC crawler beginners understand. Show you what I think are the 5 most important things you need to know. Let's go. So here we are with tip number 1. It's going to be our servo horn right here. We're going to want to Loctite 2 of these screws. This screw right here that goes through the servo horn into the servo. Then we're also going to want to Loctite this screw that goes through this bushing and into our servo horn. Get ourselves some blue Loctite. Put a little drop on the threads. Tighten them down. Going to save you a lot of headaches. Tip number 2 is going to be our battery. We do not want to leave our battery in our vehicle plugged in for extended periods of time when we're not using it. We're going to unplug it, put it in our LiPo bag, and leave it unplugged. The truck is going to drain your battery if you leave it plugged in for too long. So to make your batteries last longer, unplug them. Tip number 3 is going to be setting our gear mesh. Got 2 screws holding our motor down. We're going to get both of these screws loose real quick. On our gear mesh. So now we have our screws loose. Our motor will move. Set our mesh correctly. I just like to do it by eye most of the time, but what we're really looking for is to have just a little bit of play in between our gears. Something like that. So now that we have our gear mesh set pretty close to where we think we like it, we can take and we'll set a piece of paper in this gear right here. We're going to turn our spur gear and we should be able to pass that piece of paper through without it completely binding up. Maybe a little on the loose side still. Now I've tightened our gear mesh so that we should struggle a little bit more to get this piece of paper through, which we don't want. As you can see, it's a little bit harder to force it through there. Still goes through. Might just be that my gears are a little worn. That's how we're going to check our gear mesh. Make sure it's not too tight and it's not too loose. Okay, tip number 4, we're going to go over shock bleeding. This is how I do it. I don't have any special tools or anything for doing this. You can do it all by hand. Pop our little cap off the bottom, pull the spring off. I've already taken the oil out of this shock. Cap off. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that our shock bottoms all the way out here. Now we will fill her full of fluid. Don't really have to fill it all the way to the top. Just somewhat close. I'm going to overfill it a little bit so that we have to bleed it. Okay? We're going to put our cap back on. This is not the right way to do it right now. I'm just going to show you the example of what not to do. Guess we didn't put enough oil in it yet. A little more oil. It's full pretty much right to the top. We got our little air gap right there. Cap on. Now our shock doesn't want to compress, so we didn't do it right. Okay, so we're gonna take the cap back off. We're actually gonna compress the shaft all the way to the top. As you can see, we got oil all the way to the top, so it's still probably going to be too much. So as I screw this on, it's going to want to push that shaft out the bottom. Not too bad. And now our shock will fully compress. Make sure you keep it compressed. Tighten that cap. We should be good to go. Put our spring back on. Put our retainer back on. We got fresh oil in our shock. Want to make sure and thank Monkey RC on YouTube for the suggestion for this video. Shout out to him. Hopefully we're helping him out with a couple of these things. If anybody else has got any more questions, put them in the comments. If you think I'm doing something wrong, put it in the comments. So we're on to tip number 5. My tip number 5, it's a pretty easy one. It's don't upgrade too fast. Take your time, drive your truck. Just because some guy out west says his LCG, straight axle truck, kicks butt out there, that doesn't mean it's gonna work here at the park. That doesn't mean it's gonna work where you drive. Take your time, upgrade your truck as you see fit, drive it, get the feel for it, and move on from there. Thanks everybody again for watching, and we hope to see you out on the trails again soon.